Are you ready to find out who is truly the greatest of all time in MMA sports? Brace yourself, because the answer might surprise you. In this video, we will be taking a deep dive into the most dominant fighters in MMA history, analysing their skills, achievements, and overall impact on the sport. From Anderson Silva's record-breaking reign as UFC middleweight champion to George St Pierre's impressive win streak, we'll cover it all. Whether you're a die-hard MMA fan or just getting into the sport, this video is a must-watch. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of who deserves to be crowned as the GOAT in MMA and why. So you won't want to miss out on this epic analysis. So, without further ado, let's get started. Anderson Silva.
Oh, Kane with a big shot. That might be it. Marquardt is in trouble. It is all over.
We start our list with the Spider, Anderson Silva. Silva is widely regarded as one of the most dominant fighters in MMA history. He held the UFC middleweight title for over 6 years, with 10 successful title defenses, a record that still stands to this day. Silva's unique striking style and incredible reflexes made him a nightmare for opponents in the octagon. His notable victories include former champions like Rich Franklin, Dan Henderson, and Vitor Belfort. Silva had grappling skills, with a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as shown when he submitted Dan Henderson with a rear naked choke in 2008. In his most iconic moment, Silva moved up to the light heavyweight division, displaying his striking brilliance against Forrest Griffin at UFC 101, earning him the Performance of the Night award and being considered one of the greatest performances in UFC history. Silva had several memorable rivalries during his career. The most notable was with Chael Sonnen, an American wrestler known for his trash talk. Sonnen challenged Silva for the title in 2010 and dominated him for 4.5 rounds. However, in the final minutes of the fight, Silva locked in a triangle choke and forced Sonnen to tap out. Silva also had a rivalry with Chris Weidman, an American wrestler who dethroned him in 2013. Weidman knocked Silva out with a left hook, ending his 7-year reign as champion. They had a rematch later that year, but Silva broke his leg while throwing a kick, ending the fight and sending shockwaves through the MMA community. Silva's fight with Diaz in 2015 left fans confused. Silva was returning from a suspension for using performance-enhancing drugs and hadn't won in 4 years, while Diaz had not fought in 2 years. The fight was bizarre, with both fighters taunting each other and not engaging, leading to widespread criticism despite Silva's controversial win. Silva's career had shocking moments, including his fight with Demian Maia in 2010, where he toyed with him, refused to engage, and taunted him with his hands down, causing controversy and tarnishing his image, despite winning the fight. Jon Jones. Next on our list is Jon Jones, also known as Bones.
Beautiful kick by Jon, the left hand behind it.
Oftentimes, Jones quicker to this.
Jones is widely regarded as one of the most talented fighters in MMA history. He is a former UFC light heavyweight champion and has successfully defended the title 11 times, which is a record in the division. Jones's resume includes victories over some of the most notable fighters in the sport, including Daniel Cormier, Alexander Gustafsson, and Rampage Jackson. Despite these controversies, Jones's achievements in the octagon speak for themselves. He has beaten the best of the best and has done so in dominant fashion. His long list of accomplishments makes him a strong candidate for the title of the GOAT. Jones's reign as champion was marked by a series of dominant performances against top-ranked opponents. He defended his title 8 times, including victories over the likes of Rashad Evans, Vitor Belfort, and Chael Sonnen. Jones's unique fighting style, which combines unorthodox strikes with brutal grappling and submissions, made him nearly unstoppable in the octagon. Despite his success, Jones has faced his fair share of controversy over the years. In 2012, he was arrested for driving under the influence and was stripped of his title by the UFC. He returned to the octagon in 2013 and regained his championship, but his troubles were far from over. Jones was involved in a hit-and-run incident in 2015 and was once again stripped of his title. Jones's biggest rival in the octagon was undoubtedly Daniel Cormier, another dominant light heavyweight fighter. Cormier and Jones faced off twice in highly anticipated fights, with Jones winning both bouts. However, their rivalry was marred by trash talk, personal attacks, and a controversial incident in which Jones was found to have tested positive for banned substances. Perhaps the most shocking moment of Jones's career came in 2020, when he vacated his light heavyweight title to move up to the heavyweight division. Jones had long been considered one of the most dominant fighters in the light heavyweight division, and his decision to move up in weight was seen as a major risk. Jones has yet to compete in the heavyweight division, but fans are eagerly anticipating his debut. Demetrious Johnson. Next on our list is Demetrious Johnson, also known as Mighty Mouse. Johnson is widely regarded as one of the most technically sound fighters in the sport's history. He held the UFC flyweight title for 6 years, making him the longest reigning champion in the division's history. Johnson's ability to seamlessly transition between striking, grappling, and wrestling made him a formidable opponent for anyone in the octagon. Demetrious Johnson has achieved almost everything that a fighter dreams of. He has an impressive record of 30 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. He has won championships in 2 different weight classes and has defended his title successfully 11 times, which is a record in UFC history. Johnson's incredible speed, technique, and athleticism have made him one of the most exciting fighters to watch. One of Johnson's most impressive achievements came in 2017, when he became the first fighter to win the UFC's Flyweight Grand Prix. The tournament consisted of 8 of the best fighters in the division, and Johnson defeated all of them convincingly. He defeated Wilson Reis, Ray Borg, and Henry Cejudo in dominant fashion, cementing his status as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Johnson's most notable victory came in his title defense against Ray Borg at UFC 216. In this fight, Johnson executed one of the most incredible submission finishes in MMA history. He caught Borg in midair and executed a suplex that transitioned into an armbar, forcing Borg to tap out. This performance earned Johnson the Performance of the Night award and solidified his status as one of the greatest fighters of all time. Despite his dominant performances, Demetrious Johnson has had some intense rivalries throughout his career. One of his most notable rivalries was with Henry Cejudo. The 2 fighters met once, with Johnson winning the first fight and Cejudo avenging his loss in the second. Another rivalry that stood out was between Demetrious Johnson and Jon Dodson. The 2 fighters faced each other twice, with Johnson winning both times. However, their first fight was a close contest, and Dodson even managed to knock Johnson down, which was a rare occurrence. Dodson's speed and power made him a tough opponent, and he gave Johnson one of his toughest fights. Let's discuss Demetrious Johnson's most stunning moments. During his fight against Ray Borg in 2017, Johnson executed an unbelievable submission, lifting and spinning Borg before locking in an armbar, leaving even UFC President Dana White calling it freaky. In Johnson's rematch with Cejudo, the Olympic gold medalist in wrestling surprised everyone by knocking Johnson down with a big right hand in the second round. Cejudo capitalized on the rare sight of Johnson in trouble and finished him off with strikes. George St Pierre. Last but not least on our list is George St Pierre, also known as GSP, is widely considered one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time.
He's big time hurt with the elbows. George St Pierre is the new welterweight champion.
He has accomplished more than most fighters ever could dream of, with a record 26-2 and 2 championship titles in the UFC. But his legacy goes far beyond just his wins and losses. GSP's career was defined not just by his skill as a fighter, but also by his fierce rivalries and shocking moments that left fans on the edge of their seats. GSP's rivalry with Hughes was one of the most intense in UFC history. They first fought in 2004, with Hughes winning by submission in the first round. But GSP didn't let that defeat get him down. He came back stronger and more determined than ever, eventually earning a rematch with Hughes in 2006. GSP's knockout of Hughes was one of the most memorable moments of his career. It showed that he was not only a skilled fighter, but also a fierce competitor who never gave up. Nick Diaz was another tough opponent. He talked a lot of trash before our fight, which motivated me even more. GSP's fight against Diaz was one of the most anticipated in UFC history. Diaz was known for his trash talk and his aggressive fighting style, which made him a formidable opponent for GSP. GSP's victory over Diaz was another memorable moment in his career. It showed that he was not only a skilled fighter, but also a master of strategy and discipline. GSP's fight against Hendricks was one of the most controversial of his career. Many fans believed that Hendricks had won the fight, but the judges awarded the victory to GSP. So, who do you think is the MMA greatest of all time? Leave us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more greatest athlete stories. Thank you for watching.